Ever wonder what the one thing is that separates high achievers from everyone else? Well, according to the Level Up newsletter, it's got nothing to do with working harder. It's all about a simple mental model called the law of verification. So today, we're going to break down exactly how you can use it to tear down those invisible walls holding you back, which, by the way, are your own untested assumptions.
Okay, let's just dive right in. I want you to think for a second. What is the single most dangerous assumption you are making in your career right at this very moment? You know, that one core belief you have about your job or your team or a project that you've never actually stopped to prove is true.
Having a hard time coming up with one? Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. See, the most dangerous assumptions are the ones we don't even know we're making. They're like these little ghosts in the machine, quietly steering our decisions and, well, shaping our entire careers without us even noticing.
And this brings us to what we call the assumption trap. Think about your career like it's a house you're building. Your assumptions, they're the foundation. But here's the scary part. What if that foundation is built on something shaky? You'd have no idea until the walls start to crack.
I'm willing to bet these sound pretty familiar, right? We just assume our boss sees all the great work we're doing. But have we actually, confirmed that? We assume that just working hard will get us promoted. But do we really know the specific things they're looking for? Every single one of these is a huge career gamble that we've disguised as a fact.
And this is why this is such a big deal. We're not talking about bad luck here or things outside of your control. We are talking about totally preventable self-inflicted wounds. Misreading a room, launching a huge project that nobody actually wants, or getting passed over for a promotion you thought was a sure thing. So many of these career heartbreaks trace right back to one core assumption that we just never bothered to challenge.
Okay, so how do we escape this assumption trap? Well, it's with a simple, incredibly powerful principle, the law of verification. This is the tool, the flashlight, that lets you shine a light on all those hidden beliefs and make sure your career is being built on solid rock.
Now, the two most important words here are actively questioned and tested. This is not a passive thing. It's a deliberate process. You have to start treating your beliefs less like truths and more like hypotheses. And you would never bet your career on a scientific hypothesis without running some tests first, right? You need evidence.
And this quote just nails it. It really puts the whole thing in perspective. Think about it. A 5-minute conversation to clarify what a client really wants is nothing compared to wasting 6 months building something they hate. Verification is just this tiny bit of effort up front that saves you from a massive, painful cleanup later on.
All right, so that all sounds great, but how do we actually do this, day to day in the real world? Well, it turns out it's surprisingly simple. Let's break down the actual process.
It's really just a simple 3-step habit. First up, identify. Before you jump into that next big project, just pause and ask yourself, what is the one single belief this whole thing depends on? Second, question. You got to play devil's advocate with yourself. Ask, okay, but what if I'm totally wrong about this? What's the worst that could happen? And third, and this is the most important one, test. Find one tiny, low-effort way to get some real data. A quick email, a 5-minute chat, anything that moves you out of the world of guessing and into the world of knowing.
And let's be super clear about something. The point of this is not to get you stuck second-guessing every tiny decision until you can't move. This is not analysis paralysis. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about using a laser-focused approach to check on the few key assumptions that are going to drive most of your results. Honestly, it's a strategy for moving faster and with way more confidence, not slower.
So, after all this, what's the big payoff? Why go to all the trouble? Well, this is how you start to pull away from the pack. It's how you develop what the newsletter calls the enlightened edge.
This comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the assumption-driven path. You're constantly reacting, putting out fires, basically running your career on hope and gut feelings. But then, look at the right side. That's the verification-driven path. You're anticipating problems. You're investing your precious time and energy on things you know have a good chance of working. You're not guessing anymore. You're operating from a place of clarity. And that's how you build unstoppable momentum.
And that, right there, is the ultimate advantage. The enlightened edge isn't about being born with a higher IQ or about working 80 hours a week. It's about perception. It's simply the ability to make consistently better decisions because you took a moment to see the world as it actually is, not just how you assume it to be. So, I'm going to leave you with a challenge for this week. Just look at your to-do list and pick one important thing on it. Ask yourself, what's the biggest assumption this whole thing is built on? And then, what's one small, easy step you can take to verify it? And that's it. That one little action is your first step to building a career on a foundation of solid rock, instead of shifting sand.